Hi, all. We're going to get started in just a moment.
Muy buenas tardes. Vamos a estar ofreciendo interpretación simultánea al inglés y al español durante esta reunión. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en inglés o español, haga clic en el botón de interpretación en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla Zoom. Verá un icono en forma de globo terráqueo que aparecerá justo después de estas instrucciones. Si nos acompaña a través de la aplicación Zoom para smartphone, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic en donde dice más o en los 3 puntos en la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla. Seleccione interpretación del idioma, elija español o inglés y haga clic en donde dice listo. Si desea escuchar solo al intérprete y no a los presentadores, as Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear the speakers in English or Spanish, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right corner of your Zoom screen. You'll see a globe icon right after these instructions. If you're joining us via the Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More or the 3 dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select Language Interpretation, then choose English or Spanish and click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreter and not the original speaker, be sure to click Mute Original Audio.
Nothing.
Okay. Before we begin, I'm just going to ask if you are watching us today, can you please keep your Zoom on mute so we don't hear your background information, background noise? And then we will have an opportunity for questions very soon. So then you'll unmute yourself. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. It's 5 o'clock, so I am going to get started. My name is Greta Bowders. I am the principal here at AEA. You feel free to put on your cameras if you want to be seen. It's an opportunity for us to all get to know each other. I have been at Einstein for 20 years, and this is just concluding my 10th year as principal here. So first and foremost, I want to welcome you and thank you for choosing Einstein as your school for your students. We are honored, and it is a privilege to serve your students, and it is a big responsibility. And we take it very seriously, and we are here to hopefully make your journey easier and have a nice, smooth transition for your students. I recognize some names already, so I know some of you already have students here at AEA, and some of you may be new parents to AEA, so welcome. I'm going to introduce some of the people on our call today. We have a few of our kinder teachers. We have Frau Brown. We have, there she is, Mrs. Johnson, Miss Johnson.
Hi.
We have Mrs. Kitzman and Frau Holt. And we have Joelle McCreary, who you guys are probably hearing a lot from because she's going to want all sorts of information from you in these next few weeks. And so we know that you had the orientation videos shared with you, and hopefully you had an opportunity to watch that. We asked for some questions ahead of time, and so our teachers are going to answer those questions that they got in advance. And then we'll take questions from you. You guys can use the raise hand feature. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it should you have additional questions. We are here tonight to support you, and this will be rather informal. And so don't feel free, don't be afraid to speak out with any question is important. I do want to also share, we'll have some opportunities to meet you prior to the first day of kindergarten. We will have an event in August where we will be giving out our uniforms and some additional information. Oh, I'm going to say hi to Frau Samuel, who just joined the call too, another one of our German teachers. In addition, the Friday before school starts, we have our traditional Kinder Tea. And that will be the opportunity for your students to come in, meet their classmates, meet their teachers, and see their classroom for the first time. And so that will be in the morning of, I believe it's the 19th. I want to say it's a Friday. So put that on the calendar. You'll be in during that morning, and we will get to meet your kiddos before they begin with us. So without further ado of me speaking, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the teachers who are going to be answering some of your questions that you submitted already.
Hi, good evening to all of the families who have joined us. We're going to go ahead and get started with some of the questions that were submitted to us directly. So, Frau Holtz.
The first one we got was, can you please talk about how social emotional learning is taught and incorporated into the classroom? Do you use SEL curriculum such as second steps or the zones of regulation or mindfulness? And the answer is yes, yes, yes. Kindergarten is social emotional learning. And we do love our zones of regulation that each teacher uses. In addition to that, we all, I would say, have our own sense of mindfulness, how we incorporate that. We have quiet times where we're breathing, checking in with each other, but the zones is our unified system that we use.
Awesome. We also have another question that says, when and where can I enroll my child to aftercare? Does my child have to stay until closing, or can we pick up as soon as the parent is available? All of our after school program information is listed on our inside the kindergarten handbook. It's also on our website. And if you just contact them directly, there's a program called SAY. There's a program called Kinder Mission. And then we also have enrichment programs, soccer. There is a yoga program as well. And I believe that's it. So everything is listed in our handbook, and you can get all of the information there. Ms. Johnson, did you want to go ahead and chime in on the next one?
Sure. So it said, we don't have a full-time gardening class right now, as per mentioned in the video. And to what extent are we implementing nature/gardening in the future? And is there a chance for a return of gardening class? And we said that hiring is up in the air right now, but we do incorporate gardening and nature throughout the school year, especially during our Sharing the Planet unit, which we are just concluding now, where we do a lot of adventures into our garden that already exists on campus, and investigating the plants and animals around the campus as well. And that is where we do more nature walks and learn more about recycling and trash cleanup.
Hi, I'm Frau Brown. I will take the next question. It says, my child has not been to daycare, pardon my bird. My child has not been to daycare or preschool, so this will be quite an adjustment for him. Am I able to come in and stay with him for any length of time on the first day? Unfortunately, no. We do have a lot of staff members available. Pretty much the first month of school, we have people to assist in the morning, and kind of help them find their teachers and where they need to be, and help them throughout the day. We as teachers also, for at least the first week, if not the first 2 weeks, go to the recesses and lunch with our students, since we're kind of their first point of contact, just to make sure that they're comfortable, and until they get a chance to know the safety crew, who is our staff that goes to recess and lunch, and who they go to with any problems or issues during those times. And we do our best to make sure there's always someone there to make sure that they're comfortable and happy and being where they need to be and feeling like they're safe.
I'd love to hop in for the next question. This is Frau Samuel here. The next question we got was, I saw some toys in the kinder room during the tour. Is there time for play in kindergarten? And yes, there is time for play, especially during the first semester, the beginning of the year. Our kids in the classroom, the first few weeks, we let them explore our materials a lot. And then throughout the year, the very beginning, we start adding in some more academics and we keep building up. But throughout the year, even around this time, around the end, there's always times in the week where they do get to play and then build those structured social skills. That's a part of education as well. And on top of that, we have 3 recess breaks outside for the kids every day.
And we are back. I'll read our last question
Okay.
and you answer it. How about that?
Sure.
Does AEA offer any free after-school programs such as Prime Time?
So we do have a new program called Afterstein, and students who qualify will be notified, and that is a free program. And those are the questions that we have been given in advance.
So if you have more, now is your time to raise your hand, so we can ask you to unmute and can start to answer and filter out those questions.
Awesome. I will play the MC here, and whoever wants to chime in on a response, please do. I see Mikio, and can you say your name for us so we know how to play it? So
Aoi is my last name.
Aoi. Hi there,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. So we've been reading a lot about the International Baccalaureate program, and I know that Albert Einstein participates in this. I have to admit, though, that and I realize that it's at a limited degree at the kindergarten level, but I've been unable to really understand how the IB program impacts the curriculum there. I've read a lot about, sort of the philosophy and sort of like how they think about building inquisitive students, but I haven't been able to find like a concrete example of how, say, a particular lesson might differ as under an IB curriculum versus any other curriculum. I wonder, is there a way to elaborate on it?
I'll give you a short elevator pitch, but IB is one thing it's not a short elevator pitch because it's actually inclusive of every part of our program. And so curricularly, it's a transdisciplinary program. So let's say right now, I think Frau Samuel or Ms. Johnson talked about their unit of inquiry. It's centered around 5 or 6 units of inquiry, which are big ideas. And so all of the curriculum goes into that unit of inquiry. So if you're talking about plants, you're reading about plants in reading. You're trying to make all the connections between science, reading, even math when possible. And so on a curricular level, it really is about those units of inquiry around 6 transdisciplinary themes that are universal and global. So that's one piece. But the other piece is really the umbrella of the program, which is called our learner profile. And our learner profile is embedded in everything that we do in terms of the attributes we are teaching our children to have. And there are 10 attributes, and they're on the IB website for you. But the kids learn them throughout their entire career here at Einstein, from TK, and once we get through the high school and the high school years. And so we're actively trying to create internationally minded students. And what that definition is really those 10 qualities and attributes. And that's talking about being a communicator, hence our second language instruction. There's pieces of being principled, knowledgeable, inquirer. So it's an inquiry-based program, understanding that those attributes really talks about the umbrella of our program, and everything else fits within that. It's the teachers, we get trained in it, and we are constantly reflecting on our units and growing as IB teachers because it's not a canned program. So it's hard to give a canned quick response to.
I see. Thank you.
You are welcome. Mary Klauser.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. I noticed reading in the handbook that there's really no option for families who have siblings in school and who have a release time that's later. So there's a half an hour difference in some cases between kinder release and like the first and second graders. I'm just wondering if the school would consider offering any other options than no option, and if there might be somebody I could ask if there would be a potential for that. Half an hour is quite a bit of time difference to pick up your kindergartner and wait around for your second or third grader.
So we have staggered dismissal because of the impact of the neighborhood. Honestly, we have it between our kinder and first, our kinders start at 12. When do you guys wind up closing that kinder gate?
In the afternoons, we close it at 2:45. On Wednesdays, we have early dismissal and we close it at 12:15.
So, and then first grade and second grade begin to get out at 2:40 and 12:20 respectively, so that we know that there's not really a half hour wait. And then our next third and fourth graders, third grade gets out starts dismissing at 2:45, and then fourth and fifth at 2:50. So it's not that much of a stagger when we start moving them out.
So yeah, so basically just come at the end.
Yeah, and if you're picking up on foot, you'll see that we have different locations for our students to be picked up. And so typically we have a kinder gate. They'll pick up their kinder and they'll walk over to the first grade gate. And at that first grade gate, by the time you get your child and you're over there, you really don't have that much long of a wait.
Okay.
And for the driving gate, the way that we have it set up right now is you have a sign in your car with your name or your student's name and the class. And if you're picking up a kindergartner at either 2:30 or 12 on Wednesdays, they will let you sit and wait in your car in the same spot until your older child comes out, and you can just sit there and wait for the older child to come to the driving gate.
Good to know on that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Oh, okay. Hi, you guys are up again. Mikio Aoi. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm his partner, Karina Aoi. And yeah, I just also had a question. I was watching the orientation video, and it mentioned that you could either bring lunch or that lunch is provided, which is awesome. And in the video, it mentioned that you could bring snacks. And so I wasn't clear if snacks are also provided and you have the option of bringing snacks, or if we'll actually have to provide snacks for our child.
So typically we ask for snack donations from families. So it's not a set time frame that families have to provide, but if let's say one family provides 24 cuties, that might last us half a week to a full week. And any snacks we also get from the lunch arbor from leftover from breakfast and lunch. So those don't go to waste. They get repurposed in our classroom as snack as well. So there's snack provided by family donations, as well as the leftover lunch arbor food of fruits, fresh fruits, so that they could have fresh fruits for their snacks. And then your child is also welcome to bring their own snack in.
Okay, thank you. I see Courtney Cohen. You are muted. Courtney, if you are trying to ask a question, you are muted. Okay. I'm going to just move ahead. Hopefully you can email a question if you still have one. We do see a hand. I don't want to think we're ignoring you. Any other questions from you guys this evening?
Sorry, I'm here.
Hi there.
So, I know my daughter does, she warms up and gets comfortable a lot quicker if she already has a friend. So I was wondering if there's any way to get any interested parents who might want to do some summer play dates. I know you probably can't give out personal information, but is there any way to kind of go about that? So maybe some of the kids can get to know each other, if anybody else is interested.
I'm not fully sure how to respond to that. However, I do know that there is a Facebook group for Albert Einstein families. And I know that every year, and like kindergarten families start a separate group. And so I might, my suggestion to you on that is to find, if you're on Facebook, or maybe just make an account for this, to find that profile or that group rather, and see if anyone has information on it there so you can connect in a faster way. Greta and Joelle, I'm not sure if that's something maybe you can answer though too, if there's more.
Yeah, until we have permission and all of our students in our emails, we can't really share that information. I do want to have a caveat. There's only one official AEA Facebook page that we send information out. There's a lot of AEA Facebook pages that are not ours. We do not participate in a lot of those sites. And so there's a lot of information that is not coming from us. So I just want to warn people that Facebook is not always the place to go unless it's our official AEA site.
One thing that often happens though is at the beginning of the year, the room parents will organize some kind of a picnic for, we always have co-classes. So like Ms. Johnson and I share 2 classes, and my animals are not cooperating today. I'm sorry. But often there'll be a picnic either right before school starts, but usually like after the first weeks of school, they'll do a picnic and invite all the families. And that's a really good chance for not only the kids to connect, but also the parents to kind of get to know each other and see each other. The teachers don't organize that, but usually one of the room moms or some of the parents will organize that. And we'll definitely keep you guys updated on that when we know more.
And we will have our uniform event, which will be early August. And so there'll be opportunity. A lot of the kindergarten families come then. And so there might be some opportunities. We still have a few weeks before the kids come. And so I think they're actually looking to do that even like August 1st or August 2nd. So you'll get information and then you guys can connect there too.
Okay,
and
thank you.
One other thing we typically do too is we make a playdate doc for the class, and anybody who is interested can put their information, their email and phone number in there voluntarily. And that's a place that you can go to find other families that are in the class.
Okay, thank you. I actually have another question, but if anybody else raised their hand, I can wait.
Yeah, we have a few hands up. So if you want to put it down and then let's get to everybody, and then I'll re-answer if we have time. Thank you. Naisha Black.
Hi, everyone. I did have a question about PE. I know that there's construction going on campus, which is awesome, but I wondered if the kinders will be playing on their own playground in front of their classrooms, or will they go to the upper playground to have PE?
I'll take that one. So the kinders have their own recess. So there's a separate time that they have their 3 recesses where they're on the field all together with just kinder. And then our PE classes are separated. And so there's a PE area. We have enough space, and the PE coaches have worked it out that they are separate from the other grades when they're having a recess. We are a very busy place, and so we utilize all our space. But our PE coaches do a great job of managing where the kids are, and they'll be with their classes and able to have their PE uninterrupted from the rest of the recesses.
Okay, thank you.
Got it. Oliver Champion.
Hi. Yeah, I was just curious, like we live kind of far away, and was curious if there's any kind of like buses or shuttles or carpools or something like that for transportation to and from the school. If there's already the stuff that's like organized, just out of curiosity.
There is not. so I know parents, when they start to get to know each other, especially people who are living farther away, they start asking those questions of who anyone from an area that's close to you for carpooling. You know, as a charter, we are a district choice school, so our transportation is not provided.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else? Is that an additional question from AOE, Mr. and Mrs. AOE?
Yes, it was. It was just quickly wanted to know if someone could provide more info about the super groups. I think in the video I heard something about the super groups per each class, and I wanted to know if there could be a little bit more elaboration on that. I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, I would be happy to add to that. So the super groups are also called language exchange. It's when a little bit later in the year, usually when our kindergarten kids start to get more settled in, and the need for that rest time wanes a little bit, then we will feel it out when and have in German week, the kids who are in German week switch over to the English class, and the kids in English week switch over to the German class for about a half an hour or so, a couple times a week, so that they get a little bit of exposure to German during their English week, and so that they get a little practice with English literacy, etc., during their German week. That, for example, this year, my teaching partner, who's unfortunately out sick today, so aren't seeing her on the Zoom, we started a couple months ago, and it's gone really well with just switching back and forth and getting some good practice in. So it varies from year to year, because we always go on the kids' needs and what we see with the group needs on when we start. But that is just a little opportunity to switch up the languages and get that practice in.
I see a lot of you are connecting in the chat room, so that's great. I saw a question in there regarding what's the uniform event. So that is the opportunity for students to come in. We're giving every student a free uniform. And so that's an event where you can come and pick up the uniforms that we provide for students, and some other little meeting and greeting at the event. Courtney Cohen, you had another question? Okay, I'm going to move over to Itzy Barnaby.
Regarding the uniforms that you said in August, do we need to sign up somewhere, or is more later?
Yeah, we will send you information. So just check your email through the summer, and you will be given a time and a date, and you can come in and get the uniform. But if you are unable to go to that event specifically, we'll make sure we have other opportunities to get you the uniform as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I see no other questions. Courtney, do you still have a question? Okay. Mary.
Hi, when are the class assignments going to be made? Are we gonna, when does that happen? Because I think when our son went to kindergarten, we found out the day before kindergarten started, but that was also during COVID. So that was kind of.
That is typically at the Kinder Tea, right before Kinder Tea is when you will typically find it. We have a lot of moving parts up until that very week that we have to make adjustments to, based on the numbers and people who tell us at the end of the summer they've changed their minds. So we really are scrambling until then to make sure we have balanced classes.
So not just a COVID thing.
Not just a COVID thing. That's been a thing forever, and we work on that. It's quite it's an adventurous event to try and balance the classes out. So
we're looking forward to experiencing a non-COVID kindergarten.
Yes, and you're going to
our second student.
Very excited.
I see Frau Samuel smiling at me.
Oh, well, great. All right. Anyone else? Let's make sure I didn't lose any in the chat. Do the classroom teachers have aides? So we do have supports in the classroom. They're not assigned an aide per class. We have a German aide and an English aide, and they are shared between the classrooms. And then there are specific students who may come to us, students who have specific learning disabilities who may be assigned an aide, but that's on a case-to-case basis. Okay, Courtney, you're back.
Hi, sorry, I will not mute my video again. So my two questions were, I was on the tour the other day and they did say that it was alluded to that kids who don't speak any German right now usually need a little bit extra help or support at home, I believe they said. Is that something that is typical? And if so, how much will they need, do you think? I mean, I know every kid is different. I'm just sort of wondering, like, how much extra and what
let the German teachers take that one, because I will tell you, most of our students do not have German at home. So that is not that is actually just a typical kindergartner is what we are describing. It's very few and far between that have the German support at home.
Yeah, and I'd love to jump in for that. So usually in our Friday email, we'll send home just some resources that you can use, just quick check-ins. And it's always nice to have that little bit of extra practice at home as well to kind of solidify what they've learned throughout the day. A significant amount of home practice isn't necessary. We do have optional homework, but our main thing for work at home is just reading 20 minutes a day in any home language. When we have our conferences in October, we notice that just as a learner, your child for that second language might need a little bit of extra practice, then we'll let you know then that, here's XYZ, the things that they can practice. And we're noticing that they might need just a little bit more practice at home to give them that little extra boost. Then we'll let you know then. But up until then, just those videos go through, or if you're prioritizing play, we love that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mary, is that an additional question, or did you?
Yeah, no, I think Glenn may have just sent a message in the chat only to me because it says direct message, but Glenn asked, can you share any info about volunteering?
Sure, we can. There is thank you for helping the MC event. There is a volunteer policy that the teachers will share with you once we start. We do screen, depending on the amount of volunteering you do, a typical TB test and an application to the volunteer process. But it's all listed in our volunteer packet that we will send out to you. But if you are interested in volunteering in a classroom, get that TB test up to date to start. That will give you a jump on it to prepare you. Any parents who are going to be meeting, and this doesn't happen very often, unless you're kind of maybe doing some field trips there where you're with a specific group for a period of time. If necessary, and we have some older trips where we had overnights, we would do a background check on some of our volunteers who might be spending more time with students. So we have a couple of questions that we've already addressed. We're going to be sending, this is recorded, and we are answering some of these questions for you, and we'll try and get that rather than go through information again for you. We do offer vegetarian. I can't tell you that they're completely plant-based. I don't know. They do provide vegetarian meals for our students. We did talk about SEL already. Okay. Again, breakfast and lunch are free for all students, but you are also welcome to bring, your student can bring a lunch to school as well. So we will definitely feed your students if needed. And just for everybody, our gates open at 7:45 for breakfast. And so you can drop off as early as that so that they can get time to eat.
I saw there was another question about snack, and I just wanted to kind of tag on to that. We do try to provide snacks in the class, but there are times when we are completely out, especially if it's something like graham crackers or something that they really like. All of a sudden, nobody has their own snack, so they can go really fast. If there's something that your child is really fond of, or if they're particularly picky or something like that, we do recommend we have 2 snacks breaks a day. So we have lunch, and then after morning and afternoon recess, we have another snack break. So if you know that your child is particularly hungry or picky, or there's something that you would rather that they eat or something like that, we do recommend packing their own snacks. We're not going to let anybody go hungry, and we'll hunt down snacks if we have to. But we do recommend packing at least 1 snack, because there is a chance that we do run out during the day.
There is a question also about how do we know if we qualify for the Afterstein. So one of the forms you'll be filling out is our lunch form. Joelle, is that part of the packet?
It's not part of it yet. Sorry. Can you hear me though?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It should go out during the summer. It's the state tells us when we can send it out, so you get another email. And we ask that everybody fills out the lunch application, even if you don't think you qualify for free reduced lunches, because it might help us with funding for something else. So that will go out to you over and over and over again until the applications are all filled out.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to talk about attendance. Attendance is essential for the success of your students. You will have the attendance policy that goes out. We understand kids get sick. However, I call it a bit of a COVID lag, that there seems to be a lot of families who are keeping their kids home for other reasons than illness or an emergency. We have 5 absences. That's part of our policy. After that, we may be asking for doctor's notes. But, you know, all the students' success, students who, especially if they might even be academically struggling, the most successful thing is for them to be at school. And so each and every day, we see such improvement in students who have a good attendance and growth versus those who don't. And so it's twofold. First, it's for your child. Secondly, the way our school is funded is based on what we call average daily attendance. And so by the number of kids we have attending every day, we get a percentage of that. So if we have 95% attendance rate, we'd get 95% of the funding that is allowable to us. We don't automatically get 100% of funding. So every student that's absent, we are losing funding for it. That is not our primary reason, but it does keep the doors open. But really the need, especially in a dual language immersion program, that consistency, the language, and the access to language and opportunity for language is really important. The students who do best with these routines. So I recommend getting those routines early, start practicing getting up early, practicing putting on the uniform, getting them out of their summer habits as early as you can, because school starts at 8:10. So we want our kids ready to learn by 8:10. And so whatever that means for where you are in terms of your family and getting up, start practicing so we can start our days with a nice routine, and that they can be part of the morning meeting. And we talk about socio-emotional learning. One of the things we also do is part of called a responsive classroom. And our students start with a morning meeting every day where they greet each other and they have a time to kind of just connect as a community. So students who are late miss that connection to their community and their class. And so please make that attendance and on-time arrival a priority. Let's see. All right. What does communication look like with teachers? I'm going to let the teachers respond to that one.
I could go ahead and take that one. So we sent out several emails. Our main email is our Friday email that is discussing what's coming the next week. And that has details of important dates, what we're focusing on in German, what we're focusing on in English classes. Email is the prime form of communication that we do have with parents. We ask to give us a little bit of a grace period, 24 hours. It's 24 hours, I believe. Sometimes 48 hours within, then we should be able to reply to your email. If you have an emergency, obviously call the front office and they can let us know. We also have something that's very important and you'll hear a lot about. It's called our student planner. And it's basically just a planner. It has every single day listed, and you can write simple little notes like where you're going to pick up your kid today. Maybe if they had a bad morning, you just wanted to give us a heads up. All of that is really important for us to see in the planner. Sometimes we don't check it, just like our email, until the end of the school day, because as you can imagine, our days are pretty busy. So again, if there's emergency, just contact the front desk. They can let us know. And then one final thing is too, some teachers do use an app called Seesaw, and that's so we can send out pictures to families. And that's just back and forth, especially that first week. If you want to see what the kids are doing, that's an app that you'll use to get those pictures. And sometimes we'll have little comments or whatnot in there. If anybody wants to add, feel free to do so, but I think that's just.
Okay. Let's see, any more hands up? Trying to get all of the hands and the chat room if other people are looking in the chat room. Can you provide information about a summer camp that can provide German instruction for kids entering AEA? Honestly, I don't know. That would be something you might look at Facebook too. We don't have for our incoming kinders a summer program, but there are some out there. But when we don't run them, I can't really promote them. So you'll have to do some word on the street potentially. Let's see. Restrictions, lunches like nut-free. So you will be getting the question is, are there restrictions for lunches like nut-free? We will let you know. We're going to ask for all your health information from families right away. And so we will let you know if the class needs to be peanut-free or allergy-free. If you do have a student with an allergy, please reach out even now to Diana Escobedo, who is our health tech, so that we can get on the radar right away, your student with that allergy.
I can jump in there really quickly, Principal Bowders. It's also good when you're giving us that heads up to know the degree of the allergy, to let Diana know, for example, if your child is able to be around that food but can't eat it, or if they have to have it completely out of their space, and it makes a big difference. So.
Thank you for the chats. Thank you. Is there a policy to address bullying? And so we do have online our bullying policy. We have to be very careful using that word, because bullying is very, the definition is intentional, targeted, repetitive, and also often from a position of power. And so kindergartners have a lot of incidents and they say things. They're not always kind to each other. This is their area of learning and growing. And we talk about what we just talk about as restorative practices, right? Our students throughout their years are going to make mistakes. We're not about punishing students. We want them to grow and learn. And so every situation is really case by case. We look at it from a restorative lens, not from a shaming lens. And there'll be times where there's an incident and we might not be able to tell you what a consequence was for another child. We legally are not allowed to give that information out, but I can promise you, we take all incidents very seriously. The teachers do a lot of work on having them work together to come up with a solution to their problems. And so it is going to be, you know, there's definitely has been times where, you know, things have gotten a little more heightened and we take that seriously, but there's also a lot of small incidents that happen day by day that we work with our students to kind of grow from. Okay. Can the kinders participate in the after-school soccer program? Yes, they can. I believe that is one of our programs and open to all age groups. Okay. One more. Yes. Hi. Sorry. I see you guys.
We have a lot of questions. Okay, so I don't know if this is a controversial question or not, to be honest, but I recently read an article, sort of critical article about balanced literacy versus phonics-based reading curricula, and I don't know if this is relevant to y'all and or if you come down on some side of it or if you have opinions about it.
We can talk about our reading approach. I can let the English teachers talk about, we have one today, sorry, nope, two. English teachers talk about what that looks like what the English reading and literacy looks like in kinder, but we are not taking a stand right now on, you know, balanced literacy versus the science of reading. There's a lot of information out there right now. But if you want to speak to what we do in kindergarten, I'll let our teachers speak.
So we use the SIPS program as our main phonics instruction, and as well as we do use research-based programs to teach phonics, as well as teaching high emphasis on sight words, and then as well as putting an emphasis on in class, we of course read to the students at least 20 minutes throughout the school day, which has been shown to have beneficial effects on the students gaining literacy. And then so we do a combined approach with everything, teaching them phonics instruction as well as whole literacy too, and emphasis on sight words.
And again, we go back to that IB program, so we don't have a standard reading textbook. Our reading materials are, you know, aligned with our units of inquiry, which are still California standard based, and our units are all based on the standards, but we don't follow one a reading program. It doesn't fit us, especially with the German immersion, because you're going from one area to the other. But what I can say, what our teachers are really, really strong at is a lot of what we call UDL, universal designs for learning. That gets our content accessible for all of our students. So with the language, there's a lot of supports, visual, repetition, music that really try and connect the language. And so especially, we want, especially German, and the kids who are not coming in with German, we want it to be fun. So they get a lot of music in kindergarten, which is done by our German teacher. And I'm sure you saw that on the orientation. So
we saw they love singing in German.
Yeah. And so that's a piece of, how we get our kids to kind of engage in language.
Great, thank you.
I'd also like to chime into another English teacher, and since it is a German-based school, I think it's important that some parents don't necessarily realize, but it is 50% English instruction. So the day does look different than a regular school, because we are a charter and we're doing a German immersion. So the SIPS program is wonderful because it does carry off of each lesson. However, there is sometimes a lag because it was a week prior. So just something to keep in mind as well. Social emotional learning is the biggest part, I think, of our kindergarten learning here, but we do really emphasize, and especially for our stronger readers or our struggling readers, we work really closely with our reading specialist, who has a lot of research-based programs that she uses and believes in, like the SIPS program, that we can help supplement with too.
And
That's
just
great.
to
Thank you so much.
chime in, to chime in as a German teacher, a lot of skills are also transferable with literacy. So they're getting practice sprinkled in throughout the day in both weeks with a lot of different approaches.
That's great. Thank you. And sorry, when you said SIPS, is that how do you spell that?
SIPPS. It's a program. Okay, I can't even remember what it stands for right now. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm sure there's information.
But it's a program that, you know, when you learn to read in English, by the way, learning to read in German is a whole lot easier than learning to read in English. So, but there is a systematic way that students learn their phonics skills. And so it starts with the letter sounds, and then you start with what we call the CVC words, which is our cat, and we start blending. And then we go into what we call blends, where you're putting two sounds together. So there's a systematic way that kids learn to read. And so SIPS guides our students through that process.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You got it. Oh, there. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Put it in the chat. All right. Is that another question, Courtney? Is your hand still up?
Yes, thank you for answering all of them. I know I have a million questions. I really appreciate your time though. So the lockdown drills, I understand that you can't give us details on that. I guess my question is, are the kindergarteners, is it what they're told is happening, is that age appropriate?
Absolutely.
Or is it,
yeah,
you know,
it's very developmentally appropriate. I'll let the kinder teachers teach to it, but we are, even across the school, we don't have the scary lockdown drills. We talk about how as adults, we have to prepare. Kids often don't even, they know that they're in their rooms and that the adults around them are preparing, but we don't have them go through like the active fight, you know, shooters and all that, things that are not age appropriate. But if kinder teachers want to add anything, Laura, I think I see your hand.
Yeah, we have a book. It's called I'm Not Scared, I'm Prepared. And basically it goes along the lines of the big bad wolf and how the big bad wolf is coming in. And so we really kind of make it more of a story, and just mostly we emphasize that the teachers are here to keep you safe, and really emphasize just listen to your teachers. We don't go into the bad people or why we're doing it or any of that kind of scary stuff. Just like, hey, if this happens, because we also do fire and earthquake drills. So we kind of put it in the same thing.
Okay.
And as they go up in age, the kids ask different questions, right? By 5th grade. Right. So all of us teachers are trained in what we call the ALICE approach. And it's really a response system to what's going on. And, you know, at the older the kids are, they might be a part of that response system. And it's very different from back in the day when, you know, you hide under a desk and you become a target, right? So we, as our kids go through our years here, how could they be a part of the solution if need be? So it's really about empowering our kids at the developmental stage that they're ready to start being a part of the process.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got it. All right. All right. Well, thank you all. I am not seeing any more questions. And I kind of want to see a hand here. If you can raise your hand if you're a first-time Einstein parent coming to us and you are just joining us for the first time. See your hands. All right. Well, welcome. Welcome. And awesome. All right. Well, we are so happy to have you along for the journey. It is a journey. My only advice, which I keep giving to people, is enjoy the moments because they go by really quickly. It's hard not to, but try not to sweat the small stuff. There's going to be a lot of small stuff to sweat, but it is a fun journey, and you have a great team here. Our kinder team is amazing, and you have a great support system here. So I look forward to seeing you all in the next couple of, well, what are we down to, 2 months or so, a couple months. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.